Nevada.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I can get them down here.
That's fun.
I'd drive me down there.
Get
I'd
that
drive me up
fun.
there.
Alrighty, you guys have some good stuff.
Yes.
But I'm always happy to have everyone else speak.
Oh, you did fine.
You did good.
Alrighty. Let's see. Okay, so I know Patty, we've been doing a housing prediction for 2018.
Oh, great.
I know the two questions that you have. And Patty, you have some stuff, economic stuff in general you want to talk about? Okay.
Well, just the housing production, like, there's 8 of them, so we could do like 4 at once and then 4
Okay.
again, and that covers enough.
For
Mortgage rates will keep rising, real estate market will remain in favor of
Okay.
sellers.
Well, then
that
you know
kind
what?
of
Why
stuff.
don't I get right into the email because that leads right into it.
I gotta refresh myself a little bit.
Oh,
On
okay.
this.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
Wait, so,
And you have a good deal of the week. And
Yeah, we've got a couple of deals of the week, and then can you give us the times too?
oh yeah, 6:10, 7:58, 8:40, 8:47, and 5:10.
I never even asked you. You
Okay.
just-
Well, I just
you're
kind of go like this. I
know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I just like, he's the guy. Anyway, new construction.
Well, we can start off. Just like come right in with the deal of the week.
Sure.
We haven't done that for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Happy to.
We can first give a little explanation as to what Pacific Private Money does. All right, are you guys ready?
Yes.
We'll start. Okay, here we go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Nam Fawn of Pacific Private Money and Patty Cohen of Pacific Union International.
Hello.
Our phone number is 888-912-1190. You're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. The certificates are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon, with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. They're very high tech. Today's trivia theme is history. See how, if you guys can remember your history now.
Cartoons.
Yeah, I'll have to do that, history of cartoons. All right, so Nam, you work with Pacific Private Money, and why don't you give us some deals of the week? Usually we do that later on in the show, but I want to hear these exciting deals.
Yeah. So Happy New Year's to everyone. We had a really busy Q4, and we're starting out Q1 really busy as well. So we had a few really interesting deals close at the end of last year, a couple of weeks ago. This one we did a second behind I think it was a 1.3 million first.
And how big was the second?
375,000.
Wow, okay.
That's pretty big.
Yeah,
What's the property worth?
Okay, so that's the kicker. It's worth 11 million.
Nice.
Yeah, so-
Bring it.
11 million.
Yeah, so it's an attorney in the city who has a big case that he's working on, but won't get paid out on it until next year. So he really doesn't have the income to show a conventional lender,
Right.
and he needs to continue funding his business, funding his operation. So he came to us, gave him a second for 375.
Well, where's the property?
The Presidio, I believe.
Okay, then I can see maybe
Yeah.
11 million really was worth it.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
so it was kind of a no-brainer for us, although a conventional lender is going to look and say, come on,
Yeah.
you just don't qualify.
Yeah, exactly, because his income isn't coming in until next year for that. And what interest rate did you charge?
I believe it was somewhere in the 10s.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. And so just kind of give a brief overview as to what your company does.
Yeah, so we're private lenders. We make loans on real estate in California. A lot of our business comes via mortgage brokers, realtors, and people who oftentimes experience transactional distress, which is something we emphasize all the time here. And in private lenders, we can do loans. People come to us for speed.
Yeah.
Also, oftentimes they come to us because the conventional lender can't do it for various reasons. We're holistic lenders, and we can oftentimes get the job done very, very quickly.
How fast were you able to fund that loan?
I think in this case, it was just a couple of weeks. It
Okay.
didn't take that long. But
Yeah. But even if it could have taken longer, the bank still wouldn't have lent on something like that.
right. Just
And the
'cause-
banks can't do it that fast. I mean, I've worked with Pacific Private Money and got things done in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the show, we're always tempted to go, oh, yeah, we can close in as little as 5 days. But, give us as much time as possible. We
Yeah.
just know people come to us at the 11th hour. So we're prepared to close at speed.
Yeah, because you have a large enough team to do whatever due diligence and paperwork.
Absolutely. Our underwriters come from conventional lending world. so 50 years plus of experience.
So they're like sitting there
Wow.
waiting on the phone, waiting for phone calls. Okay, call them. Boom, done.
24 hours
Always
a day.
been ready.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
9 to 5.
Is that what you tell your employees? What does 24/7 mean to you?
That's right.
Well, that's pretty good. So, so if the borrower comes to you, he gets a good deal. Was this funded in the fund or with an individual?
I think it was funded through an individual in
Okay.
this case.
Right.
So we were probably over committed on the fund. You know, so
Gotcha.
we're continuing to raise capital, which is the other side of our business. We operate the Pacific Private Money Fund, which we use to lend
Okay.
to borrowers and for investors who provide us capital. They get a healthy return, 7.5% to 8%.
So, if, and a deal like that probably would have been okay for the fund.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's still pretty conservative, even though it was a second.
Right.
That's a really low. In fact, you go to bed at night hoping the guy not.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So they throw that attorney out of his house.
Yeah, that one certainly was fund worthy. And the reason why is the fund is fairly conservative.
And before we go to a break, I want to make sure because I almost forgot this last time. If people have questions about either being a borrower or being an investor, how would they get a hold of you?
2 ways. They can go to our website, which is www.pacificprivatemoney.com, or they can call us 415-883-2150.
I'll tell you what, we are going to cut to a first commercial break. When we come back, Patty's got a lot of very good, interesting, that's a lot of paperwork there. You're going to have to summarize that.
Oh, I will be summarizing.
Okay.
You know me.
All right. So I want to do a little quick mention, shout out here for Beach Blanket
Oh,
Babylon.
I love that show.
Isn't that funny? You know, if you go on their website, they have all kinds of funny things, you know, like big Trump heads, and they have the Curry and Draymond and Clay, or KD, I guess it is.
That's great.
You know, we're very funny. So check them out at beachblanketbabylon.com. I think it's .com, not .org. Probably .com.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here is our first history trivia question. School is in session. The March of Dimes was originally founded to help find a vaccine for what problem, what disease? Okay, that's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190 if you're the first caller with the correct answer. Actinic certificate, which is worth actually about $100. So make sure that you get on the phone and call 888-912-1190. And we'll need your email address so that we can email you if you're the winner. Again, here's the question. The March of Dimes was originally founded to help find a vaccine for what? All right, don't touch that dial. It's the best of investing. We'll be right back.
I think it's polio, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. See, we finally get away from those sports questions. I can answer. Let's be serious.
I couldn't answer a lot of sports ones. I can't answer
Well, it
any of
depends
these.
what.
I'm so bad
Oh,
at
I
trivia.
usually can't either.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark's really good.
He is.
Or maybe not.
Edward's good.
Well, I got it. I mean, that makes it easier for me.
I was going to say whooping cough.
Oh, yeah. I had that.
Oh, that would have been a good.
Did you have
I
that?
had it a few years ago.
Is there a vaccine or?
I got something for it. Yeah, I forget what it was. Yeah, my son had it, and I'm all big on saying I never get sick, and I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a superwoman. I got it too. I mean, I was just around it like nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, come on.
How long does that last?
A couple weeks. I mean, but I didn't have it like some people. It hangs on a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I was gonna watch the Warrior game, and for some reason I had Channel 4 on, which I didn't really watch. And I look, and I look and I go, wait a minute, I know that guy. And they were interviewing my niece's husband.
Oh wow.
He's a doctor at Kaiser.
Oh wow.
And so, and I look and I go, that looks like Alex. Sure enough, it was Alex.
It's fun.
Cool.
Because he was talking about the flu. Okay, so one down. And then we'll go right to Patty.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patty Cohen and Don Vaughn. First trivia question. The March of Dimes was originally founded to help find a vaccine for what?
Polio.
Polio. That
Right.
is
Ding,
correct.
ding, 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 ding.
That's right. And if it happens on your feet, it's called polio. Okay, Patty, you got a
At
lot
your
of good stuff for
portfolio.
us.
Anyway.
Portfolio, yes. To help my portfolio. That's what I need a vaccine for, is my portfolio, yes.
Anyway, so what's going to be happening in 2008, right? It's hard to know, but these are the predictions. Pacific Union, our company, had a symposium a couple of months ago in the San Francisco Jazz Center, and this was the forecast. John Burns and Associates and our in-house economist, Selma Hepp, came up with these predictions, and it sounds good to me. So, number one, mortgage interest rates will continue to rise.
To rise.
Okay. You know, it's been a slow, gradual
Yeah,
increase,
right.
and basically, they will probably rise 20 basis points by the end of the year. That's nothing, really.
So for the audience, that means just a little bit less than a quarter of a point.
Yes, exactly. And so it would have to be, we would have to see much higher than inflation for notable changes, right?
Okay.
So number two, the real estate market will remain in favor of sellers. It kind of feels like it's shifting, but
Yeah.
we're still there. It's still, the inventory is so low.
Okay.
So new construction would have to ramp up considerably. And in the Bay Area, as you know, we don't have much new construction.
Now, they are trying to fast track some things because of the fires, right? You
In
know,
the
I mean,
North
that'd
Bay?
be in North Bay, I guess that'd be ground up construction, but.
Oh, that's a whole other that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in order for it to change considerably, it would either have to be new construction ramping up, or we would have to have higher rates and an economic downturn. None of that's predicted, like
Yeah.
much higher rates, right?
Right.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about an economic downturn in the forecast.
Not at all. Yeah.
You're hearing of bubbles, but they're sort of fringe bubbles like cryptocurrency. You know, that's not a mainstream part of the economy. So,
Right.
but tech bubble, no, not really.
No.
Edward's laughing a little bit.
Yeah, we kind of teased each other about the Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. And we actually had one listener email, or actually he called in. He says, "You guys should stop talking about Bitcoin. You have no idea what you're talking about."
Oops.
and Mark was talking mostly about blockchain and all this stuff, which I don't know much about, but I can just kind of sense that I don't want to invest in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't really care to know that much about it.
No.
It's anyway. So what else? So what's going to happen in 2008? We will continue to have a shortage of inventory, and that's been going on now 6 years.
Right.
Coming up on 6 years. So the lack of supply will continue. In order for inventory to return to somewhat normal levels, we would need at least a 20% increase in supply in areas with strong demand.
Well, I don't see that happening.
I don't see
So we're
that
talking
happening.
about Marin, San Francisco, South Bay, Peninsula.
Yeah.
There's just no space for.
Yeah.
there's just-
Yeah. So not a lot of building, and it's also not going to happen either, because with the baby boomers, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, they're staying in their houses.
Mhm.
Where are you going to go, kind of thing.
Right.
Especially,
I wonder if a lot of them, in the old days, people were able to retire, but a lot of people are working longer too.
Exactly.
And either they have to or they want to, and so maybe that's another reason they're staying in their house, is because things really aren't changing for them as much.
Exactly.
Is that possible? Okay.
exactly.
They don't have a place to move to.
Right.
Yeah.
And net, the Bay Area is a really great place to stay. So they come to, like, where else would I move? And also the generation of, like, in their 60s and 70s and 80s, they weren't ones that remodeled and tore things apart. So a lot of
Yeah.
people are in this, like, little 1,500, 1,800 square foot house, tract home,
That's
ranch that was
satisfying.
built 40 years ago, haven't done much to it. So they stay.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I got to say, that's really interesting. Dawn in our office here was talking about Lighthouse Resort, and she says, yeah, she expects actually there to be growth there, because some of these people are selling their house, and when they're downsizing, they're buying these phenomenal RVs. I mean, we're not talking about your old 1960 Winnebago. I mean, we're talking about ones that are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, and whether they actually travel around in them or actually just park them
And live in it.
and live in it. I mean,
Yeah.
like the Lighthouse Resort provides a somewhat of a resort type feel
Right.
with a swimming pool and a mini golf course and a
Wow.
clubhouse and all this stuff for like $600 a month.
Wow.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, plus utilities. So it's like, where can you live for that cheap?
Yeah.
Patty, are you some of the baby boomers having their kids moving back in?
That's generation, just like
Yeah.
Uber, and they don't buy cars. If they need a car, they'll rent it. They'll trade houses, they'll go to a hotel.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different feeling and a whole different thing going on. But it seems like not baby boomers, but millennials are either doing really well or they're moving back in with parents, and because it's so expensive to live in the Bay Area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So interesting.
All right. What else you got for us?
And well, let's just take the top four right now. The next would be affordability will continue to deteriorate. So, back to inventory and the whole thing. So buyers will not only face potentially higher mortgage rates, but combined with higher home prices, they will spend more of their monthly income on mortgage payments.
Right.
Yeah, and it will fare the worst in high growth job areas and the lack of supply. It just
So I wonder, is that actually because, Nom, your company provides home mortgages for people who can't quite get loans from a bank. That actually might be a good boom for you guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll continue as we have, see strong demand. And it's not necessarily from people who can't come up with a down payment, because we have, a cap at 70%. But it's people who may have a credit glitch that's not going to be solved in a short period of time, or they were in process on a purchase. So they had gone the step of making an offer, getting accepted, and then for something comes up, convention. So,
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of like banks have requirements, you can't spend more than 37%.
oh, right,
Right.
your debt to income
Yeah,
ratio.
debt to income. So in this case, if they, as Patty says, higher price, higher mortgage payment,
Yeah.
and they make good income, but they can't quite qualify.
it's
All
tight.
right, let's cut to our second commercial break. Here's a trivia question. Who won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1906 for his work at ending the Russo-Japanese War? Now, you have heard of this person, so you have no excuse. None whatsoever. But you have to kind of think about 1906.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. I mean, so it can't be Leonardo da Vinci, and
Right.
it can't be Bill Clinton.
Right.
There, now it's got to be somebody. All right, call 888-912-1190 to answer that question. Let's sit down. We're gonna be right back.
Just because we've heard of this person doesn't mean we're going to get it.
Japanese Russo
War.
Roosevelt? No.
Yes. Teddy Roosevelt. Very
I
good.
don't know how I know that. I don't know.
That's great.
You good.
Can I
You're gonna
answer?
come off really smart.
Can I post your answer? Just kidding.
Exactly.
No, it's already live streamed, so
That's true.
somebody's gonna cross-reference the radio spot with the video.
Really, I had no idea, but that hand really did.
Well, that's
say
what I said. You
Yeah.
know, there's got to be like, 1906. Who would I know in 1906?
Not many.
Was he
President?
President, yeah.
Back then, I think it was 1908. He
okay?
was president, I think.
I didn't know your stuff.
Yeah.
It was the morning of.
Because I have no life.
Black Union's doing great. They've expanded down in Southern California.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely up there.
You know what? I didn't send you my article. You're one of the people I didn't send. I got published, two articles published, and one of them has to do with buying a home when you already own a home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the other one is why our banks are not making conservative loans.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, I got them published in 300 magazines.
Where?
Realty Times, REI Wealth, and Originate, which is
Mortgage industry.
from Gerasi.
Wow, that's so cool. So what would you get out of that, though? I mean,
Nothing, just
Yeah.
actually, yeah, it opens up doors for being able to help us with our money.
I got it. Yeah.
So
But there's a component. Did you write that one that waiting versus buying now and using?
Yeah, that's the art. That's what,
That one might be good.
Yeah.
That one's good for real estate agents.
Oh, yeah,
Realtors.
exactly.
Yeah. That's good.
We need to make a calculator out of that.
Send Patty Cohen my articles.
So, hey, by the way, speaking of what's going on, I just got the numbers for the production for the county of Marin in 2017. I was in the top 1%. So out of 1,500 agents, I'm in the top 15 of them.
Okay, well, I mentioned about that.
I'm really getting excited about
Yeah,
that.
sure.
So I'm going to put that, I'm going to tell everybody.
Of course.
And I'm going to put it on my signature, everything.
Congrats.
That's
That's
huge.
Okay, ready? Here we
That's
go.
your hour so far.
Well, Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nom Fawn and Patty Cohen. Second trivia question. Who won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1906 for his work at ending the Russo-Japanese War?
Roosevelt.
Which one?
Teddy.
Yes. How many Roosevelts
Teddy
are
or
there?
Theodore?
Yeah, exactly. Want to make a quick mention here for Alcatraz Cruises. They have a buy one, get one free ticket promotion, which is available on select dates through February 7th. Now, we're coming up on that, so you got to check them out. AlcatrazCruises.com for tickets to The Rock. And they also they partnered up with several waterfront amusements with special offers and discounts. So that you can check out at sfwinteronthewaterfront.com to secure those coupons. Or again, just go to AlcatrazCruises.com. Now, Patty, we understand that you won some award. Would you tell us about that?
Why, thank you. Actually, here, beginning of the year, just looked at the production for all of the sales associates in Marin County. There are 1,500 of them, and I am in the top 1%, so one of the top 15.
That is awesome.
That's fantastic.
Congratulations.
It's a good year. Thank you so
We
much.
keep saying on the radio that we've got like the top agent. Okay, so now we have to say the top 1%.
Yes, that's right.
Very good.
She's the top to us.
Yeah,
That's right. You're always the top. Very, very, very proud of you there.
Thank you
Very
so
glad
much.
you're on our show for that. Tell you what, I want to cut right over here. We just received a couple of emails. Seems to be right up your alley here. First one is, I recently registered on privatemoneyloans.com. Actually, you know what? Let me back up because the other one kind of feeds into that a little bit more.
Sure.
Here's the first one. I am a fund investor, and I noticed that some of the loans in the fund are being sold on the new website, privatemoneyloans.com. Why are you selling these loans?
Yeah, great question. So we launched private money loans just recently, and we only have a few loans on there right now, but we're planning to add more loans. And some of these loans will be live fundings, meaning that we haven't funded them yet. We're looking for investors, and others, like the one our emailer mentioned, are loans that we've already funded. In this case, loans that we funded through the fund. Now, why would we sell those? These are recent loans that we've closed, or maybe in the last 6 months or so. We do it for a couple of reasons. One is to create liquidity. So if we want to, if we don't have new investor funds coming in and we find new loans that make sense for the fund, then we may sell existing loans out of the fund to create that liquidity.
Yeah, because I can imagine, like we were talking about that other loan where you're, the second that you would have loved to have done in the fund, but there was no liquidity at the time because it was all the money was deployed. And had Private Money Loans website been up early enough, you would have sold maybe some other loans to fund something like that and still generate more points.
Exactly.
Which you share with the fund. Gotcha.
Yeah, and so we may generate, it helps boost yield in a number of ways. Let's say we sell a 9% loan and we replace it with a 10% second, like the one we just talked about earlier. Then we're boosting yield, but also the loans that we sell on the platform on privatemoneyloans.com, we're selling, but keeping a spread.
Okay.
So maybe that loan that we sold or that we took in at 9% or 9.5%, we're selling at 8.5%. We're keeping that spread. That's going back into the fund. That helps boost the yield. So we're boosting the yield that way, and then also we're replacing that loan with maybe a higher interest rate loan.
Yeah, even if you don't, it's just extra income
Right.
that's coming in, and then whatever new money gets deployed where there's some points, and you share that with the fund. I can imagine you boosting the yield, pretty well. I mean, it's not going to boost it 10% or anything, but I mean, you might boost it an extra quarter to half a point with no risk on that.
And over time, as we sell more loans and as we continue to keep some of the spread, then that will help boost it.
Okay. Well, and the second question here was, I recently registered on Private Money Loans. So we have somebody who recently registered on it. It says, how are these loans different from investing? How are these loans different from investing in the fund? So I guess this person's wanting to compare,
Right.
Should I invest in these loans or should I invest in the fund?
Yeah, great question. So it's different in that you're the individual trustee investor in that case. You're untitled. Your name is on the deed of trust. Where if it was in the fund, then the fund is the lien holder.
But also the yield is going to be lower because there's going to be a spread that's going to be kept by the fund.
Right.
Yeah.
And so why would an investor choose to invest or take a loan from private money loans? Someone wanted to diversify their portfolio.
Yeah.
And I'd like to have certain loans or certain investments where I'm the direct note holder, and other scenarios where I want to spread it across a lot of different properties. Because one is, if you're invested in a fund, your money is always working once you're invested.
And you're diversified.
Right.
Yeah.
Where if you're the note holder on a specific property, let's say it's 123 Main Street, somebody could pay that loan off. That borrower could pay it off. They could refi in 3 months. So then you're liquid again, and you're having to redeploy that capital into other individual trustees, or you can put it in the fund.
Gotcha.
So it's really your investment preference, what kind of return profile.
Give out your information one more time.
Sure. Our phone number is 415-883-2150, and our website is www.pacificprivatemoney.com.
Patty, what else you got for us?
Well, what's going to happen in 2018?
Yeah.
All right. So the last four, and I'll go through them real quick. The U.S. economy will further strengthen, and we all know that. You know, that feels great. 6, the first-time home buyer activity will pick up. Millennial first-time buyers impacted the market in 2017, and as more of them turn 30, they will increasingly be active over the next few years. They face greater affordability challenges, which prevent some from buying, but overall, that'll ramp up. 7, millennials will spark development in affordable urban areas. So, following the central city boom, millennials venture into home ownership, and that's like they've been not buying, and so that's the prediction that they're going to come out.
Well, it looks like there's also, I was just thinking about like Northgate Mall here in
Right.
Marin. They're thinking about making some of that housing because
Right.
Macy's and Sears is moving out.
They're making it like a destination for
Yeah.
more than just, what it was there for before.
Yeah, I'm hearing that's the trend, and they're trying to make these malls, like some malls, we don't have any like that, many in the Bay Area, but they're making like, it look like cobblestone paths, so they're making them look like a city. They're not a city,
Gotcha, yeah.
but it's gonna feel like a city. So now they're placing some housing mixed in it. So you're kind of, if you live there, you're like, it's so easy, just pick
Yeah,
something up.
sure,
But
sure.
so it feels like a city, but it's a mall. I mean, personally, I just buy every single thing online. I barely step into a mall.
Well, Restoration Hardware is changing that in Corte Madera where they're building something
Huge.
huge.
Yeah.
And apparently it's going to be absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
And
that's what I hear.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised about that, though, because parking is already a challenge there.
I don't know how they're addressing it. I'm sure they are addressing
Well,
it.
it's the lot across the street, but
Oh,
still.
they'll have to, yeah.
Yeah, they're extending out that space like all the way across the whole parking lot
Yeah.
for restoration.
crazy. Anyway,
All right, so here is our third trivia question. What is the best known invention of Nobel Prize founder Alfred Nobel?
that's not a bench.
Yeah, so what would he invent? And basically, this kind of started off the Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
Okay, that's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. If you're the first caller with the correct answer, you're going to win that 5-pack canning certificate. Which actually, it's a 5-pack. So
Pretty cool.
5-pack, yeah, that's actually pretty good. All right, that's our trivia question. What is the best known invention of Nobel Peace Prize founder Alfred Nobel? Don't touch that dial. The best of investing is going to be right back.
Is it a trick question, like he invented the Nobel Peace Process?
No.
Yeah.
No, he really invented something.
I don't know. Well,
I mean, he invented probably a few things, but this is what he's really known for. You think, did we stump Patty?
yeah, well, I know, stump me. I usually don't get any.
Yeah, I never. I don't think
You've got some. Come on.
I don't know. Yeah. It's,
All right. what do
Oh,
we
so the
think?
last and final thing on this,
Oh, okay.
if we have time, is how the tax changes will negatively impact the market.
Okay,
So
you
all of
should
those,
talk a little
all of
bit.
those were like
Yeah.
good for the market, but that's not.
Okay, that's fair enough. I heard that some of the stuff is grandfathered. Like, the HELOC.
Yeah. Oh,
See, I didn't realize that. I thought that maybe it was done. Like if you had a personal HELOC. I mean, I use mine for investment purposes, so it's different. But the average person just using a HELOC, they're getting rid of that deduction. You hear that?
they are getting rid of it.
See, that's the thing is, no, they. Actually, this was
I
this
said,
was sent by you. Yeah.
I didn't read it.
No, but it was very good though.
Will you
I was
please,
very
I'm gonna
interested.
send you the stuff that I send to my clients and I'll come back and say, I didn't
Like,
read
well,
this.
yeah,
Tell
what
me.
is it?
Yeah.
No, it was mortgage interest. Okay.
I sent it to them.
You know what? Can you send me stuff too whenever if it comes?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Okay,
Add me to your database.
you'll get some junk you don't want, like my new listings and all that, but
No, I'd love that.
you'll be on the
Yeah.
list. Okay.
Okay, so here, interest on a HELOC is no longer deductible.
It's so funny you said that. I gave it to you.
Yeah.
I didn't even read it.
Okay, so pre-December 16th, 2017 mortgages are grandfathered and new purchase money mortgage may be grandfathered in the purchase contract, blah, blah, blah. But that's the regular mortgage interest of, $750,000.
Wait, so you're grandfathered in
It's
if
grandfathered in.
your
It says in refinancing of grandfathered mortgages are grandfathered, but not beyond your original term.
I just sent it out to all my clients.
Yeah. Of course, the HELOC was only 100,000 anyway. But, for
So
us
glad you
people-
read that stuff.
But no, it's good to talk about this.
Oh my God, it is. You could turn it around. Wait, so
And you got some more stuff for us too?
So I'll talk about the fund appreciation dinner and the February 7th.
Okay.
So the Creek.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing one more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patty Cohen and Nom Fun. Third trivia question. What is the best known invention of Nobel Peace Prize founder Alfred Nobel?
Got me.
got me.
Well, you're not going to believe this because the Nobel Peace Prize, he invented dynamite.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Dynamite.
Yeah, that was invented in China.
That's gunpowder was,
Gunpowder.
but dynamite I guess is a little bit
Well,
different.
so how did he get involved in the Nobel? I mean,
Well, I think what happened was he made a lot of money with the dynamite, and then he decided that he wanted to. I think he kind of realized, but this is a little dangerous. I better start something for peace.
that's
Something along those
funny.
lines.
That is very interesting.
Nom, Pacific Private Money has an event and some stuff going on.
Yeah, several events coming up. The first one is just in a few weeks. It's on January 24th, but it's for our clients, our investors. It's a fund appreciation dinner. So any listeners who are invested in our fund, not too late to RSVP.
That's right. And if you're not a fund investor yet, you have a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks to
Got
sign
like
up,
10 days.
invest, and you're invited to Spinnaker Restaurant. It's Wednesday the 24th. So hopefully, hope to see everyone there. And then another event is in Walnut Creek. We had a lot of success taking our show on the road last year. So we have an event at Momo's on February 7th in Walnut Creek. It's in the evening. It's also fun oriented, and we're very excited this year to take our presentations more on the road.
And what do you have, appetizers?
Yeah, appetizers, a little mingling and networking, and then we jump into alternative investments.
Okay. And then if the listening audience wants to attend,
Then they can call us 415-883-2150, or they can go online on our website and register, and that's www.pacificprivatemoney.com.
how many people can you accommodate?
In Walnut Creek,
Yeah.
for this one, 40 people.
40 people.
Yeah,
Okay, so
typically.
audience out there, if you want to come to the event, get some free appetizers.
Yeah,
but-
we're halfway there too, so you better register.
Oh,
quick.
okay,
So,
gotcha. All right,
Good.
and I will be there myself, so 39 people. Or 20 people, 19 people.
Yep.
Okay, and Patty, let's talk a little about your favorite topic, taxes.
Yeah, now let me start by saying I'm definitely not an expert, but according to our economic person at Pacific Union, the tax reform could be, and I don't see it making a big difference in the Bay Area on the higher end, but anyway, it could be very detrimental to housing markets across the country, especially ones where buyers are already constrained by affordability and a lack of homes on the market.
Okay.
The reform further disincentivizes existing homeowners to sell, especially if they lose their grandfathered tax deductions when buying again. Okay, so I have something that I'm happy to send to people, a PDF of this tax reform, impact of tax reform on individuals, what exactly is changing, and it's put out by Cooper's Live, my brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm happy to send that to anybody if they want to call me. Patty Cohn, COHN, 415-722-4842, or email me at patty.cohn, COHN@packunion.com.
Yeah, and I've taken a look at it, and it's actually very comprehensive. It's very good, and it's not actually hard to read. It's not like 100 pages or anything. It's not like an IRS code.
Yeah.
It's fairly simplistic. Like here, the principal residence deduction used to be up to $1 million.
Yes.
Well, now it's up to 750. So people are only going to lose the extra 250, the deduction on 250. And if the average interest rate, to make it simple, is 4%,
yeah,
that's what, $10,000 of deduction they're going to lose.
Right.
And you're talking about, the new tax bracket is, what?
I was just going to say the tax
Right.
bracket, if you do the math,
Yeah.
if you make $250,000 income, then you're in a different tax bracket, so you just make it up anyway that way.
Right.
And then in terms of that's the cold hard cash and what it means to you at the end of the year. But how I think of it, how will it affect people's buying decisions? I really don't think it will. Is someone not going to buy $1.5 million house and they're going to buy a $1 million house in a different neighborhood because they won't get that deduction?
Right.
It'll affect their pocketbook,
Yeah,
but I don't
right.
think it really will affect their buying decisions.
Right.
No, that's a very
That's
good
more
point. 'Cause,
emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, if was it affecting them before? They were limited to $1 million worth of
Whole.
debt
Yeah.
to write off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it may affect lenders because I know many times people will stop at $1 million because that's all they can deduct. I mean, we're talking about a $4 million house and let me get that. I'll get a loan for that and, whatever.
Pay cash. Right?
Yeah, they could have made, they pay cash for the rest. I mean, it doesn't, I don't think in the higher end it makes that much difference. So now people might limit to 750 deduction, it depends.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to change their buying decisions that much.
Also, you have to get rid of the HELOC. Right now you can deduct up to $100,000. So it says interest on a HELOC is no longer deductible. Yeah, but again, you're talking about it was up to $100,000. Now, if you lose that 100 again times 3 or 4%, you lose another $4,000 deduction.
Yeah.
So I got to say, the funny thing, a lot of people have been accusing Trump of oh, this is just for the rich because the tax rates for the rich have dropped a couple percent. But the thing is, when you look at the standard deduction, which a lot of people who are in lower and middle class don't itemize their deductions, and they do take a standard deduction, those deductions are doubling. They're going to help the lower and middle class from that end of it. And I guess when you start getting to people who can barely deduct, then it's not really helping too much. But
true.
I think we won't know until this time next year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How it'll impact things.
Yep.
I mean, then in California, it's so funny. They're going to limit to $10,000 for state and local taxes, and all that. And then that's sort of this penalty for the people on the coasts who didn't vote for Trump, is what people are saying.
Seriously.
So California is kind of coming up with this, quote, brilliant idea that apparently they're going to come up with some way to benefit us Californians, and instead of it being a tax, it'll be some kind of contribution or something along those lines. So they'll make it a deductible federal deal.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Of course, the thing is that'll also be deductible in California too. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
Interesting.
But
Yeah, we need a break.
But of
Yeah.
course, if it's a contribution, then is it voluntary? Well, then go. Well, I don't want to pay my taxes at all.
Exactly.
And if it's not voluntary, then the IRS might say, "Well, wait, that's not a contribution."
It's not a contribution, exactly.
I just don't get it.
I know.
It's beyond my pay grade.
Yeah.
You lost me.
Yeah, you lost me at hello.
Welcome to the bus.
All right, we don't have another trivia question, but we have 45 seconds before we have to come to another break.
Let's see. I have another, and maybe we'll have to pick it up at the last segment. But another story of the week, or deal of the week. There's just about a couple who is downsizing. They were an older couple who lived, who wanted to downsize, but they don't have income. But they own their home free and clear, and they were in contract, and we were able to cross-collateralize the property and essentially provide a bridge loan until they could sell the home that they were living in.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear the particulars about that.
Sure.
I think the audience might want to know about that too, because that's actually fairly common.
Yeah.
Very
problem,
common.
but it might happen.
Yeah.
All right. So when we come back, Nam is going to give us the another deal of the week per se, and then at our last segment, we've got some interesting thoughts of the day. One of them by Reba McEntire. She actually gave us a good one here. All right. Don't touch that. We're going to be right back.
All right.
All right, one more. So that was segment 4. We have a short one of 5:10. You're done.
Sign that wire for Mike. Going to Pacific Private, I'll do it tomorrow.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, it's we can deploy that. Still busy as ever. So
And even busier with the fires and all that, or going to be.
going to be.
Yeah.
Anticipate that.
Yeah.
It hasn't kicked in yet,
Oh.
but I think there will be quite a bit of that going on.
Yeah.
Not just on the residential, because there were like 2,000 commercial structures too.
People are just,
Right.
for whatever reason, they're just not gonna qualify for the bank, because there's not enough, it's not like there's just enough of an insurance check to cover it all.
Yeah.
All right, ready? Let's. Welcome back to the best of investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patty Cohen and Nam Fawn. Nam, give us kind of a rundown of that last deal of the week.
Yeah, there was an older couple, boomers, who had been in their home for forever, owned it free and clear, but they were retired, so they didn't have the income. They wanted to downsize. They had their home on the market, and they found a home that they liked. It's on a golf course, single story. So the problem with their existing home was it was
Two-story.
two stories, too large, and they just wanted to be in a smaller place. So they were in contract. The home that they had on the market, their first home was like 1.2. It fell out of escrow. So they couldn't close, but they couldn't qualify for the bank loan because they didn't have an income.
And how big what was the price of that new house?
The new house, I think, was somewhere in the 800s.
Okay, so they were buying less.
Yeah.
So had they been able to sell the first house, then they could have just paid cash.
Yeah. So what they're going to do is we put them in a loan. I don't know if they've closed yet, but as soon as they do, their other home that's 1.2, once it sells, they're just going to pay us off and they'll be debt free, which is the other important piece for them.
So you were able to do a loan where you
Correct.
got first mortgage basically on both properties.
Yeah.
That's a
So
pretty smoking deal.
really smoking deals, a no-brainer for us. I
Yeah.
mean, when we look at the scenario and we're like, this is
40%
just,
loan to value.
this is such a common sense loan. And the bank says, well, you know what, this checkbox here says income. It's not going to work. So
Wow.
bridge
Very
loan,
common.
What kind of interest rate did you earn
probably in
on
the
that?
9s, something like that.
Has that one closed yet?
Yeah, it closed last year. Well, a couple weeks ago.
Wow. Where was the property?
It was in the East Bay, or in the South Bay, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, San Jose.
Wow. So again, audience, if you're hearing that, then you say, "God, that sounds like a pretty darn conservative loan," which I also agree is. Then call Pacific Private Money and
415-883-2150.
smoking. And then if it lands in the fund, it lands in the fund.
Yeah.
But then people can invest in the fund. Thing is, though, not everyone, here's the catch, not everyone is allowed to invest in the fund.
Right, you do need to be accredited. So accredited investor is somebody who, you can qualify two ways. One is net worth, which is $1 million net worth, but you can't include your personal residence in that calculation. But if you have other property, you have investment portfolio that totals $1 million, you qualify. Other way is if you have an annual income as an individual of $200,000 for the last 2 years, or as a couple $300,000, then you can qualify as being accredited. And then the other minimum requirement is $1,000 investing fund. So 415-883-2150.
Patty, again, I would get a hold of you for questions.
Yeah, questions, and if you want a PDF of that tax change and simplicity of it. Patty Cohn, C-O-H-N, I'm with Pacific Union Real Estate, and I'm at 415-722-4842.
Yeah, do they go by Pacific Union International anymore or Pacific?
I think it's just Pacific Union now. You
Ah.
would think I'd know.
Okay, well, that's okay. No, I mean, it makes it easier for me too if I just have to say
Pacific Union?
Pacific Union.
Yeah.
I just call them Pac Union. Great company,
Yeah.
by the way.
That's Pac-Man.
Fantastic.
Yeah, good reputation.
Yeah.
Yep. Great agents. It really is true. Great marketing. It really is true.
And for those people who might be interested, I just got a couple of articles published in a couple of magazines. One has to do with how do you buy a house if you are, it's like very similar to like that family.
Yep.
And then the other one is why banks are not making the loans that we think are conservative. And then just in general.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the listeners want
That's what I'm
I'll
saying.
copy that.
All I have to do is just email Edward at bestofinvesting.com and say, please send me your articles, and I would be glad to do that. All right, we're going to cut out for today. Thank you very much, Nom and Patty. Here's our thoughts
you.
for the day. To thrive in life, you need 3 bones: a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone.
to.
Said Reba McEntire.
Oh,
I
that's
thought that
good.
was pretty good.
That's very cute.
And John Gardner, and I don't know who John Gardner is.
Oh, yeah. He's an old timer. I
An old
forget.
timer?
Yeah, I forget.
He said, life is the art of drawing without an eraser.
Oh,
I know,
that's awesome.
isn't that kind of
Yeah.
sweet? I like that. All right, tune in next week to the Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best
Of
of investing. So long.
Right. Love it. That was
So long.
short and sweet.
Yeah. On to your next deal, right?
Yes, true. Oh, no, I can hear my phone